Welcome back to VCD Tinkerbench. I'm your host, Drew. Today we're going to be covering the Droid Master Control Board from Imperial Tech Shop. We are going to be assembling it and soldering it into place. So without further ado, what you get when you purchase it, you'll get your board, your shield. You'll get 2 sets of male header pins. You'll get 1 set of female header pins and an audio jack, a 3.5 millimeter audio jack. Tools that you'll need: pair of snips, solder, soldering iron, and a prototype board. If you have your Arduino, you can also use your Arduino. The point is to better align your pins when you go to solder it to your board, instead of having it bend one way or the other. When you go and you set them into place, they're going to be pointing up directly, and then you just solder it through. What we're going to start off with is the pins that go into the Arduino. So grab your header pins. You'll have more than enough to cover it and cover the extra areas where there's going to be male header pins. You'll have the female header pins will go here, and then everywhere else will be the male header pins. This area here is for the audio jack. We're not going to populate that yet. We're just going to do the header pins. So count them out, cut them in groups. Do not put them separate. Do not count and cut 10 individual ones. You want to try to get them in a perfect group. So that's another reason why I provided 2 bunches, 40. So go ahead and count it, snip them. So now that we have those cut out, we can start cutting out the ones that are in groups of 3. If you want to populate all of them, you can. You have enough to do that. If you only want to populate the main ones for the shadow system, or just certain ones that you're going to end up using, you can, no problem. Your board, your rules. There you go. With some more to spare. So let's jump into soldering. And yeah, I guess it doesn't work. You get to watch me do it. Go ahead and just push it into place. Seat it down. This is the bottom one. Okay. Now what I can do to level this out a bit is I can just put in a set of these. Because unfortunately I don't have an Arduino here in the shop, but I can still put these pins in here to help level this out. I'm going to put a little something on the other side to hold it up as well. Perfect. That looks pretty leveled. Well, let's get to soldering. All right, so we got the first set of header pins done there. Now let's remove him from the board and swap to the other side. This one does seem a little off, so I'm going to have to... So it looks like the Arduino, the prototype board is not aligned properly with the Arduino pins, so I'll have to do this one manually, one at a time. So I just got to pull out 1 set of these. Let's go ahead and do this side first. Once again, I'm going to add a little bit of support under it to hold it up into place, so it's nice and leveled. All right. Now you're probably saying to yourself, how am I going to do it? And the way that I'm going to is just doing it manually. All the other ones are already in place. And as long as I get one pin soldered into place, I can always try to manually adjust it. All right, looks good. Now we want these pins up here. We want to solder these in. These 3 are for the shadow system. These 6 are open for anything else that you want to program them for. So let's go ahead and populate those in. All right, now that we got that completed, we can move on to these female header pins. Now you do get a whole stick, so if you do mess up the first time, you have enough to do a second time. Now what you want to do is you want to match up how many pins there are. I usually try to look at it and match it up as such. Now I can see that this one is actually cut off at the end there. What I'm going to do is just snip off just a little bit of the end. So now I know where I need to be, and then snipping it. So that way you have a clean cut. You do not want to snip right where the last pin goes, because what happens is, if you see that, I just split this open down the middle. If I would have cut too close to the pin, to the last pin that I need, it may break out and actually fall out. So you don't want that to happen. You want to try to protect that last pin by removing the next pin and then snipping where that next pin would have been. And I'm just gonna tin the ends, double check, and finish up the rest. Now let's move on to the jack. The jack has 3 pins that need to be soldered into place, as you can see there, and it only sits and fits one way. I stand corrected. It does sit and fit a different way, but we want it to be facing outward, so the jack will be facing out. Now we're only gonna solder the 3 pads that are there. Be extremely generous on that solder, because they're not only the contact points, but they're also the anchor. So every time you plug in, you unplug, you're pulling, you're putting stresses on that jack and these connections. This needs enough solder so that it doesn't break. Congratulations, you have completed your Droid Master Control Board from Imperial Tech Shop. Thanks for watching. Continue building, continue exploring. Comment, like, subscribe. Follow us on social media. Have a good one.